I was very fortunate to spend a week golfing in Costa Navarino in Greece with my girlfriends, and I happened to bump into a 82-year-old gentleman who is a 2-handicapper, which in golf is a very good golfer, and he had spent a lot of time in the Middle East. And because he was a banker and I was a lawyer, we ended up striking up a conversation about life and times and use of golf and how golf had shaped our working lives as well as our personal lives. Now, I'm sharing this because it's quite a useful snippet just from my learning, as I would call it, because growing up through the ranks in a law firm, being branded a golfer who ended up playing with a lot of bosses, a lot of people who didn't play golf thought I was favored because I played golf, and a lot of the bosses and colleagues who played golf enjoyed playing with me and striking up a friendship with me, and till today we have remained friends because of that bond that we shared, golfing with clients in different countries, etc. So it's a really tough kind of balance to have when you play a sport that is relatively male dominated in a legal environment which is already male dominated, and where you create a lot of very useful networks as a result. Now, I know this sounds cliched, but I wanted to break this down to genuinely explain to you why this works. Now, I know it also works in paddle tennis to some extent these days because it is a very social sport, but golf is a little bit different because you do spend 4 to 5 hours and normally have a bite to eat or a couple of drinks, etc. after the game. So you literally end up spending a good 6 to 8 hours with your clients, colleagues, etc. Now, the way you play golf, because it is a sport that depicts complete honesty and self-policing, is very revealing of a person's personality. So number one, how you treat your opponents and how competitive you might be, how honest you might be in relation to the rules, because golf has plenty of rules and it's very easy to be sort of on the gray line of them. You may not be illegally bending them, but you could sort of be using them to your advantage as well, in a good way or in a bad way. And then you can also see how they treat somebody who's not as good as them, or they treat somebody who's much better than them, because obviously there's a hierarchy of handicaps in golf, and the lower your handicap, the better you are, and the better you are, the kind of better treated you get, because people respect that skill set. So there are so many things that are revealing, especially a person's aggressive nature, a person's thought process when they're making decisions, because you have the wind, you have the lie angle, you have different hazards, and you have different situations where situation is not repetitive. Like in tennis, a serve is repetitive. In golf, a drive may be repetitive, but the situation it may get you in, whether it's in the woods, in a bunker, or on the fairway, are very different each and every time you play, because it is a stationary ball. So to cut a long story short, I would say my journey of sport to business has been incredible. Not only have I met incredibly gifted people, I've also learned how to harness, thankfully, the talent that I have and meet and understand a lot of my clients and colleagues as a result. And it also means that you have a very long-standing relationship with someone, because generally when you played golf for 4, 6, 8 hours, depending on how long your day was, or you've done corporate golf days with some of your clients, there is a factor that binds you all into that experience of having spent the day together and understanding how each and every person reacts. So I call that my sport to business learning. But whatever sport you're in and whatever you can transport from just being a hobby or something you're good at into something that takes you and gets you to a next level in your business or your networking, even if it's not really understanding your clients to the fullest or whatever, spending time with them, spending quality time with people. Ultimately, all businesses, to my mind, are person to person. And the more you connect, the more you understand, and the more you relate, the more successful you would be. Thank you so much for watching Think Tank this week.